hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
Thanks, guys. Mostly sunny, less humid, 78 the high. It's 70 now downtown GR. So we saw this news story from Granville, and this had come up, and we thought we must have missed something, and I guess technically we did. We saw a couple people posting on Facebook about it, where people we knew were commenting, but not from a news perspective, but just about a letter that was going around and people ranting from the Granville community. And apparently there's a feeling that there is a culture of bullying at the school. And I'm wondering, and I'm asking this having not seen the story yet from WZZM.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if people will hear this and say, well, that was the same at my school, blank.
Well, I don't doubt it. Probably.
Or if it really is way worse at Granville than other places. And that may be impossible to tell from a 2.5-minute news story. But
well, I wonder why it's being singled out. It must be terrible compared to other area schools.
Well, or maybe just more, more people are talking or something. Who knows?
And I may stop this to add something that I think will be in here. And if it's not, then I'll stop it and add it in. Here it is from ZZM.
Parents are concerned about bullying in Granville schools. Tonight's school board meeting to find out what's being done to address it. WZZM 13's Amr Abbas joins us now with more. Amr?
Juliet, some parents say the school district needs to do more, but the superintendent tells me they are addressing the issue and taking action. One thing, though, was clear tonight. Bullying is a topic that brings out a lot of emotion.
It starts in the elementary schools and all the way through.
What are the consequences that these kids are going to have when they put something so hurtful on social media? I mean, these are horrible things.
And it wasn't just parents voicing their concerns over the bullying problem at Granville schools. A 16-year-old student also addressed school leaders after she was called fat and ugly by another student.
I've had friends who have severe mental issues, and this is because of the nasty texts that they get, of the nasty phone calls where they're called fat, where they're called ugly like I was, and it destroys your self-esteem. It destroys how you look at yourself, and that's why so many kids have problems loving themselves and respecting themselves.
We take every incident or alleged incident
This is the superintendent.
very seriously. We investigate thoroughly, and when it's warranted, we definitely will discipline kids.
The superintendent says the school is proactive with their Be Nice program that combats bullying and says their teachers are equipped to handle tough situations. But students like Abby Jones say there is more to be done.
I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror for a solid 5 days after that phone call was made.
It was a phone call. Like someone called her.
That's really crazy, especially
crazy.
Today.
Normally people are such cowards. Like social media is perfect for bullies because it allows them to be even more cowardly and hiding behind their keyboard and not seeing somebody face to face.
Yeah, totally.
It was bad enough when somebody had the balls to come up to you and stick gum in your hair or tell you that you were worthless or whatever. But
Sure.
that actually took a certain amount of at least balls. But on social media, these
it's
creeps,
easy to
it's
just
a
go
breeze
to town
because you don't have to see those people.
It is
you can
hard to
pretend like nothing happened, like you didn't do anything.
Well, and you can get people quickly to gang up on someone via social media. I can't imagine.
Absolutely.
Because, in that age, everything, Patton Oswalt said it, high school's not real. Everything is a billion times worse.
Sure.
The joys are a billion times better. The anger and angst is a billion times worse than it really is. But that doesn't matter because it's still your reality then.
Right.
And I think of how I took stuff home and how I internalized it and how even at 43, I still don't think I'm good enough.
Absolutely.
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine if I had to then read it on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram as well.
Yeah.
And so that kind of freaks me out for my kids. But at the same time, it's just part of the deal. And it's probably worse for us than it was. But the fact that this, by the way, I give her a lot of credit for going and speaking at a,
I do too.
at a public event.
Yeah,
That's pretty brave.
Yeah, that can't be easy.
I do it to enforce this policy so that another kid will not have the same problem as me.
Now, Granville says they will suspend and expel students in some bullying situations. School leaders are planning on coming up with more solutions in their next board retreat. Nick?
I think that's got to be what it is. It has to be. I mean, especially if you're calling someone home, if you're harassing somebody while they're at home, yeah.
But here's a question. I'm not saying that's okay.
No, of course not.
Is that the school's? Is the school in charge of what happens when they're not at school?
No, but they can help by.
Yeah, no, I don't think
I can't think of a
them.
situation where anybody got suspended from school for something that didn't happen when it was related to a school event, be it sports or extracurriculars or anything else. I mean, I know lots of kids who did stuff and got in trouble at home.
Yeah,
that they didn't get. I mean, it's a different time. It's been 25 years since I was in high school.
Yeah,
right.
But
No, I
do you
think
see
it-
what I'm saying?
I think it's
no.
hopeless. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I really do.
And is Granville unique that it's? I mean, not that
No.
there certainly are
No.
cultures that exist in one school that don't in another.
I don't think they pointed out anything
No,
that
but
is extreme beyond your typical high school.
no. I have to imagine that this happens at every high school, whether it's a small high school or a big high school, whether it's Granville or Kentwood
Or maybe they are leaving
Rockford,
something out.
That there are people. There's always going to be the people in the middle who are sort of off the radar, or that people just get along with generally. But there's also always going to be a-hole bullies who want to feel powerful over somebody, and there's always going to be the weaklings that take it.
Yeah.
That's just the way human society is. And you can do your best to minimize it. And hopefully, I know as a dad with young kids, I'll do my best to make sure they're never on the giving end and try to make it so that they can avoid the receiving end of that too.
Yeah. Well,
But there's only
that's
so
the
much
thing.
that you can do,
The receiving end is, it's impossible. It has to be impossible. I mean,
I
as
think
far as you controlling
it's not a matter of it's not a matter of always avoiding it, because you can't always avoid it. You can't control that. But all I can do is try to build them, into the types of people who can kind of compartmentalize it and deal with it and realize that there are just simply a-holes in the world who will say whatever they want. I mean, we see it all the time in this job, where you don't do a damn thing to somebody, but some, nameless, faceless jerk on a keyboard somewhere says the most vitriolic things in the world to destroy your self-esteem.
They hate you. They actually hate you.
yeah.
And, and the best you can hope for is that, you teach them how to withstand that and to realize that those people just don't matter.
Yeah, I was bullied.
And that's the best you can do.
Oh, we
In
all
high school?
were.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah, I'm
was,
sure. Yeah, some worse than others. Like, I mean, I used to get picked on too. Not bad. I consider myself very lucky.
Yeah.
In that I got as little as I did, but I mentioned it earlier. Like I said, the kid that puts gum in the hair. I got gum in my hair. That was embarrassing. That sucked, and I didn't want to rat the kid out because I was afraid it would be worse. I was told my whole life, like I was made fun of because of how skinny I was. People still do it now. Nobody goes up to a fat person to their face and says, "You're fat."
No,
or
they do.
rarely.
Listeners do it to Joe,
but
and I'm not saying you're fat. But Steve and I actually remarked to each other. But like, boy, people are really comfortable going up and saying really mean things to Joe's face right now.
Yeah, they sure are.
But you know what? Who won't do that probably to you? I mean, and maybe they will, but generally family members. You know who will do it to me? Family members. But every time I see them, it's like, oh, you're going to blow away in a wind. You're so skinny. I'm like, yeah, you know how that's been told. When you're a guy your whole life, you're told how unmuscular and skinny you are and how just devastating that is to your psyche. It's the same reason, like, I don't want to take off my shirt at the beach. I'm 43 years old and I won't do it.
At this point,
I'm still embarrassed.
I mean, I know that at this point, I give it as well as I take it. So I understand there's some give and take.
Yeah.
I also have learned to, as far as something like that, taking a shirt off at the beach, it's like whatever. I at this point I don't care as much as I used to. There are certain things on certain days that might get to me more than others, but for the most part, I mean, but I've also been doing it. It's a little bit different now. I'm 33 years old, and I've been doing this for so long that I've kind of grown a thick skin, compartmentalized. Exactly. When you're in high school, dude,
you learn to deal with it. Like, I realize at this point, it's on me more than it is anyone else. Because it's not like I'm getting bullied in the sense of like I'm on the playground and get my ass kicked. It's like, if I can't handle it mentally, that's my problem at this point. But when you're young, it's a different ball game. And I hope I can get my kids to avoid it and I'm going to keep them off social media as long as humanly possible.
There's another thing.
Because nothing good comes from it. It's like if you want to call your friends, just call them. Stay off of the stupid Facebook and Twitter, and God knows what will exist in 12 years from now.
Yeah. And there's something else we get to see as well that you start to recognize, and that's a lot of people who email in or do it in person. If you want to, if they kick it off and you try and do a little give and take, you realize how big of babies they are and how I feel better about myself for being able to take it as well as give it. Yeah. And then you see them crumble.
Do you know what I like to do?
Cry.
When people, especially on Twitter, if we get something that's especially nasty, I like to look at their other tweets. Yeah. And almost always the people who are the most angry, all of their tweets are anger tweets at someone.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Like they just got done yelling at a race car driver for pitting too late, or a basketball player for missing a jump shot.
There's no creativity
Conan O'Brien for not having the right guest on.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no content. They're not trying to create anything. Not that I always do, but they're not sharing anything that makes anybody happy. It's just a medium to complain about whatever. Like, how do you spend so many hours in a day just tweeting at people about things you don't like?
Really, I mean, is remarkable. So yeah, rest assured that if you have ever sent us like an over-the-top, really hateful Twitter message or email, we have looked you up and we have judged you, and in 100% of the cases, we have looked at your profile picture and went, "Oh God, I feel so much better. What a loser!"
I know.
Of course, that person.
Oh, of course. Look at this is all they do all day.
Again, we're not in high school, so it is dramatically different.
Absolutely.
If I had to take the sort of attacks in high school that we get.
No,
from
we have
the show,
a job
I would have been a disaster.
We're in the public.
Now, Tanya went to Granville, right?
Hi.
Hi, Tanya. You're 38, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like when you went 20 years ago?
It was the same stuff that is happening now. I refused to even send my children to Granville. I was living there. I made sure that they went to a different school. I wouldn't even send my kids because everything that they said that they focus on, they're lying about.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it, can you objectively say that it's different at Granville from your experience? Obviously, you're not an expert on the cultures of all schools, but what makes Granville different than Hudsonville or Kennewa Hills or Rockford,
Forest Hills?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily any different, but I'd like to think that maybe the other schools don't sweep it under the rug and try to have such a great persona like Granville does. Oh, we're, Blue Ribbon School. We do this, we do that.
Maybe that's what it is.
They just, we're perfect. We're a great school. We don't want to have these issues in the public.
Well, I'd like to know. Yeah, that's what I really want to know. I want to know if someone can call in and tell me why they did a news story specifically about Granville. Like, is Rockford just... Are they really great at handling bullying? Is this something we just don't know?
Maybe they are. Maybe,
right, exactly. I don't know.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they deal with it earlier on. Maybe more parents are on board. Because that's obviously the most pivotal thing is early on. Kids sort of, they become their own human beings, but at the same time, you learn a lot from what you see with your own parents. And if your parents are a-holes to people, chances are you're going to be an a-hole to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's pretty true.
So,
Tanya, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate it. 1-800-947-3979. There was a story in May where a Granville student, I read this earlier, and I'm a little anxious that I'm going to screw it up somehow, so I'm trying to pull up the story. A teen had threatened to blow up the school at some point, had made threats.
I vaguely remember that.
A Grandville High School teen said she was going to blow Granville up, made the online threat last month. This was in May. And she had cited that she had been bullied and she wanted it to stop. And that is a desperate spot when you feel like it's, that's your life and it's unfair.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Who knows?
These are, here's one reason. If I were a school, I would try and be involved as possible and do everything that I could because I don't want to be the next Columbine.
No,
I don't.
No, and I think I think that's key is getting through these kids early, and often that anything you're experiencing is short-lived and doesn't matter. the other people around you don't matter in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
You should be nice to them. You should get along with them. But 40 years from now, you won't remember most of their names unless they were your actual friends and you've stayed in contact with them. Anything that, like I remember one of the kids who bullied me, but I don't care anymore. And plus, those people grow up the same way you grow up.
Yeah.
You know, I went to a class reunion. It was my 20th, I think. And I got talking to a guy who, man, we did not get along. It wasn't really a bully situation, but we kind of hated one another.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best conversations I've had in years. Like, I came away from there going, I really like that guy.
Yeah.
And I think he felt the same about me.
Like
you
for
know,
me,
I mean,
where
you
I grew
realize
up
it's
in a
different.
small area, like that small school, so it was the same kids from kindergarten through graduation. The biggest revelation for me when I got to college is, oh, these are my friends because we have things in common and we like the same things and we look at getting drunk the same way, frankly, which is, you know, at that age, it's really, you don't, if you're not someone who gets drunk Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're not going to hang out with people who do.
Right.
High school, they were my friends, some of them, a lot of them, because geographically, we lived in the same school district.
Right.
Our parents' houses were near each other. Others, like, you know, like my friends Chad and Nicole and other ones, we were friends because on some deep level, we were friends.
Yeah.
You know, so that, someone could have told me that 1,000 times in high school, and I wouldn't, no, these will be my friends forever.
No.
I think it all.
No, it's tough to wrap your mind
I need
around at that
their
age.
approval.
The parents play a huge role in all of this. My parents were very strict on, because I was small, I was bullied,
Yeah.
and the rule is you're not allowed to do anything. Just tell somebody first of all. Let us know.
Yeah.
And secondly, if you get don't put your hands on them unless they touch you first, because a lot of kids forget that. They get all angry when they get called these names in front of their friends, and they look like an idiot in front of the whole school lunchroom, and then they snap and maybe throw a chair at somebody. Might have done that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was instilled in my brain over and over and over again. Just come home. We'll deal with this here. And my parents never called the school or anything. But there was a time where a guy came and slapped the glasses off my face and said he wasn't going to fight a bitch. And I had a broken collarbone, and he started beating me up just because he didn't like the way I looked. Which
That's
awful.
how it goes. It is terrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he got payback.
Yeah.
But you know, now the guy's a complete loser,
Yeah.
and I'm no better than him.
Yeah.
But
You are.
Yes, you are.
Don't worry.
I have one
you
contact
can't say
in
it, but
today.
go ahead.
All right.
Let's
You're
see.
a little better.
Let's talk to you. Lisa, you live in Granville?
I do.
Do you have kids that go to the school?
Yes, my son is a freshman there.
Okay. And just by curiosity, did you also go there?
I did not, but my husband did.
Okay. So you've been associated with the school district for a long time, and you have a freshman there. What can you fill
and
me in?
We moved to Granville. You know, we moved away from. Well, my husband moved away, and then we moved back to Granville because my husband wanted our kids to go there.
Okay. So what do you think of everything
he
that's
wanted
going
your
on
kids to
there,
be
then?
bullied?
or bully?
I'm sorry, there was a bunch of talking over there. So could you repeat that, please?
So why is Granville getting this attention and other schools
Yes.
are not? Is there a bigger bullying issue there? Does the school do a worse job than other schools? Again, same as the last caller. It's not like you're an expert on all schools and bullying culture, but what do you know? Or what do you think you know?
My theory is that it's the parents caused this. The mom did this. She went to the media with this. That's why they're going after Granville. I've heard that the victim in this case, like the assumed victim, has been the bully for a really long time, and somebody finally retaliated, and that's what escalated this.
Well, I mean, it's possible.
It is.
I don't know
definitely
the
is.
scenarios, but I have seen it go both ways before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Steve, you had said last week, or a couple weeks ago, we were talking about this. We were talking about something about high school, and you said you were lucky to be the nameless, faceless kid in the middle.
Yeah.
You got bullied a little, and you said, I probably bullied some too. And I think that's probably true for everybody.
Yeah.
Unless
Sure.
you're at the very bottom of the pecking order,
Right.
which is terrible.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, everybody does, and in some cases, you don't even realize it. I know I did that because, like, it was after high school. My best friend's wife hated me because I made her feel terrible, and I didn't know that until years later.
Like when
from
they were
high
married,
school,
yeah.
because I would tease her about things.
Well, it's so
and I didn't
normal.
realize, and I thought she thought it was funny. I thought everybody else thought it was funny. And it wasn't until years later where she said to me, she goes, I'm just relieved that you're okay with our marriage because I always thought you hated me. And I went, oh my God, you did?
That had to be
it was a gut punch. I felt like such a, because I didn't know, because I wasn't a kid who was going and poking kids in the chest. I wasn't knocking books out of hands. I wasn't stealing stuff or wrecking stuff. I was just joking around.
No, but it was probably an experience more like mine where
now I get paid to do it.
Yeah, everyone kind of got theirs and took theirs.
Kind of, because I got it too.
But there were definitely, there are definitely those kids who never take, who always take it.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
And that's so unfortunate.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
So I wonder if maybe a lot of other schools, it's the good old boy mentality where we take care of this,
Yeah, maybe.
Here.
I'm sure. I actually, and I would think in this day and age, probably most school districts try pretty hard. But you're never going to eradicate it. There's always going to be some kid who is bullied. There's always going to be a massive bully who on the facade is, not to make the most dated reference in the world. It's the only one I can think of, though. But you're Eddie Haskell types that are like great with the parents, and it's like, yes, sir, no, sir. And then they get around classmates, and they're a complete a-hole.
Of course.
And the parents have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff is going to happen. It's human nature.
Lisa, what kind of conversations do you have with your son? You said he's going to be a freshman there, but he's obviously been in Granville before that.
No, he just finished up his freshman year. He's a sophomore now. I just haven't gotten used to that fact yet.
Okay. What sort of conversations does he think this is a problem? Have you had that conversation with him?
Oh, we have had that conversation, and he says it's. I mean, obviously it's a problem because of human nature. Things are going to happen, but he said Granville's very proactive, and they really go after it hard. He doesn't see bullying as a problem in school.
Yeah.
Not to the extreme that what this is blown up to be.
Sure. Lisa, thank you.
Yeah.
It does
I think
it does seem
people
like this is maybe the flames fanned a little bit by social media.
Well, I think people are a little bit.
I mean, because it's probably a similar issue everywhere. Not that the people who are receiving any of this bullying or whatever are they going to go, oh, okay, well, it's just social media, so no big deal. I mean, it's
I think.
Could be classic Grand Rapids slow news.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be that.
Well, I think some of it gets blown out of proportion now because everybody's so hyper-focused on bullying that if any happens, it's like the end of the world. Even though maybe today it's better than it was 20 years ago with what we dealt with. And I think obviously the scope has changed. Now social media plays more of a role. I think there's more mental devastation now. When I was a kid, it was more physical.
Right.
Like you worried more about actually getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
But then once it was over, it was probably over. I mean, you might.
It might be worse.
It might be worse.
There were times when
it was just. I think it was just different. Yeah, you avoided certain situations
for a long period
I got
of time.
very good at avoiding certain hallways at certain times. I knew what other people's schedules were. I mean, if it became a problem, you become pretty self-aware. And part of it, I like in that I became self-aware enough to understand my surroundings and sort of go, all right, this is what's good for me and this is what is not good for me, and knowing where to be and what not to do. I think it made me aware.
Tara joins us. Hi, Tara. What do you say? Tara? Tara, you waited all that time.
You there?
All right, thanks.
Nope.
I could hear you there. Your phone
for
is still
a second.
there.
Yeah. She's texting.
Derek from Granville, you went there?
Yeah, I went there in 2005. My son goes there right now.
Okay.
I'm actually probably going to switch him out next year. But one of my good friends, it was her daughter that supposedly made the bomb threat. And I actually just talked to her recently about it. And there's a lot more to that than what it was. It was completely taken out of context.
I'm sure.
I don't doubt it.
I read what they said the social media post was, and it just on the and you know way more about it, and that family knows way more about it. The administrators know more than what I know. But looking at it, I'm like, well, it could be taken as either the oh my God, I hate this place. I want something bad to happen. But not really.
This girl was bullied relentlessly, and she's a good girl. I know that. She's never gotten in trouble. Her mom actually pulled her out of that school to get her away from this group of girls that bullied her for so many years.
Yeah.
And they just continued to do it on social media. And it was more along the lines of she was like, oh, my God, I just want to blow this place up. Completely, that's not what she meant. And if
That's
you read
just the ramblings of a hormonal upset girl.
It could have been. It could have been the same as I wish this place never existed, or I wish it would just disappear.
Yeah.
But that's not
But
the
here-
same.
The sad part is they actually came and arrested this girl who's still in high school. They came and arrested her for it, and her mom had to bond her out. I think she said for it was like $14,000. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, for making
this
terroristic
little girl.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, because if they don't react strongly and then something happens,
well, they should always investigate. I mean, anytime anybody makes what could be considered a threat, they should investigate. But it should be pretty easy to do your due diligence and mentally evaluate somebody and go, all right, this is just a hormonal girl. She doesn't have any intentions. Because hell, we've all said the same thing. Probably I said all kinds of insane things when I was in junior high and high school with no intention of ever actually doing anything. But God, you'd walk down the hallway, and, under your breath or whatever in front of a teacher, you'd go, I'd love to murder that dude. He's such an a-hole, but you never actually meant it. You didn't physically mean it.
Derek, you said you're going to take your kids out of school there. Why are you taking your kids out?
Well, the problem with Granville, and the reason I feel like it's different than other schools, because I switched there in the 4th grade from Coopersville, and I love Coopersville. But it's kind of, I feel like it's a good old boys club there.
Clicky.
Yeah.
And
It's a
they
suburban high school. Wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it is. It's kind of the culture there in Granville, like that other caller had said, and it's a huge problem there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Derek, thank you. I appreciate it.
What do you do in homeschool or just?
Yeah. But to that, and he might be completely right.
Yeah.
And for we live in the Granville School District, so this is part of our future unless we go somewhere else. But
it's up to him.
Having done high school games for so many years, and not that this makes me an expert. But I can tell you I've heard that phrase at almost every school over the years from someone where they say, well, if you have the right name, everything's going to be paved, smooth, and clear for you.
That's everywhere,
but if you're, so I don't, my point is, I don't know if this is any different than anywhere else.
No, it's impossible to say. I'm very far removed from the game, and my kids are still young enough now. I ask, Grayson was riding the bus every day as a kindergartner. So, very frequently I would say, everything going okay on the bus? Stuff like that, and yeah, I love it, I was lucky and he was lucky. The kids, even the 5th graders, they all, there weren't any issues. Everybody was cool on the bus. So that was good. And they do a good job of incorporating people in Forest Hills where every day of the week, it's like, hey, what did you do today? Oh, well, I hung out with my 3rd grade buddies or my 6th grade buddies. They kind of pair up the older kids with the younger kids. So everybody sort of has a vested interest in one another, sort of like Big Brother type thing, which is cool. And it seems to work out pretty well. And, but I'm pretty far removed from the junior high and high school thing. But, even if somebody's not a traditional bully, they might find somebody that they just want to go after. I had a guy who really bullied me in high school, made me quite fearful. He was a big guy. I had stolen his girlfriend somehow miraculously. And he was, my nemesis. Tormented me for a long time. But I don't think he tormented anyone else. But he was 6'6" and 300 pounds. He was on the football team. If he wanted to, he could have really hurt me. And I thought he chased me one night, in the car.
But now he could use social media in that same situation.
Right.
And he could rally the rest of the school.
Absolutely.
And make it so that it seemed like everybody hated you.
To terrorize you nonstop.
That's what makes it so much worse now. I think it's worse.
Well, it's certainly a different layer that I didn't have to go through, and I don't know how it would change it. But,
It seems unavoidable, though.
I think it largely is.
Hell,
I think all you can do is try to minimize it. Try to teach your kids early not to be the bully, and also how to deal with it when they are bullied. Because inevitably, somebody is going to bully them. No matter how popular or great they are, chances are they're going to get it from somebody at some point.
Happens in the workplace.
Absolutely, it does.
You could fly through school smooth sailing. It's just it takes different forms.
Yep.
But man, it's everywhere.
I've seen people cry at work before.
I cry every day here.
Yeah. Yeah, look at Justin.
Tears of joy.
Yeah.
Or else.
Yeah.
Everlast, what it's like. 97.9 GRD Rocks.